All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, the Adefolu family, leading us in that worship. I really enjoy it. There's something about singing in our native language, especially when you understand the words. Our native language, they are very expressive, and especially if you understand what has been said. And I sure hope that we're going to have more people, more families also lead singing. That's one thing I'm trying to encourage, even at our midweek service, rather than playing songs via YouTube. Maybe people should just, sing. And I'm sure we're going to catch up to that because it's very engaging. When you know somebody, you know that is singing and you know the song and you're singing with it. So this morning, today is the 21st day of the month of July, and the month is going very, very fast. We've already passed the half mark. And based on our study, this is the 14th day that we are in the book of Samuel, First Samuel, but the 21st day. Of course, you know that we took a very short book. That's the book of Ruth, and we were able to study it in 1 week. Usually, we do most of the books in a month. So that means we started the second week, which is of July. We started doing First Samuel. But you are welcome. I want to thank again all the men and women that support this meeting, the brothers who come to share their convictions, the women who pray, the men who join in the prayer. Everyone is such an encouraging, an encouraging thing. And I think our alarm clocks have been set in a way. My mental alarm clock goes up at 4. So at 4, I'm usually up every day. And it's a thing of joy to just be with all of you here today. If you observed yesterday, our dear brother, Mr. Defolu, he actually tried to cover 3 parts of First Samuel, I think chapter 24, 25, and 26. Yes. So the way it's designed, that was just like an intro, and he did a fantastic work. Today and tomorrow, we're not going to shift the same passages that he used. We're just going to not pick them out, just one chapter in all. Yesterday, he spoke to us about testing spirits, okay? Testing spirits. And then in chapters 24, 25, and 26, he brought about 3 points. One is to guard our hearts, to protect our hearts, guard our hearts. There are things that will mess you up, situations, guard your hearts, things that will come in. The Bible says from the heart, things come from, it's a wellspring of life. Then also, it called us to submit, what was it called? Submitting vengeance that is holy. So we need to bring ourselves to that point. And I'm just going to go ahead and mute everybody at this time so that we don't get those distractions. And yeah, so okay. One more. And there we go. All right. Okay, thank you very much. So he talked to us about it. Let me go back to my Bible. So he spoke to us about that. Then finally, he spoke to us about God's praise, how he weighs more than personal vindication. There are some things we like to do. We live in a world of do me, I do you. They say God no go first, and it's human to want to retaliate. We feel it every day. I feel it every day in driving. There was a guy who almost ran into me, the other day. And you see yourself, you begin to try to catch the person. So when you catch up with the person, what will you do? But it's just a human thing. Let me let him know that I can speed, So, but we have to resist that urge. I know my wife just told myself, honey, just let it go, let it go, let it go. And I'm happy I got that urge, even though it was not like, let me just see his face, um, we need to learn to do that. Our call to action yesterday challenged us to resist a wrong impulse, and choose God's way. So today, what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be going back to just one chapter of the 3 chapters, and we're just going to pick it out and look at it in another way. That's how this devotional has been designed. So few moments in the scripture showcase humility as powerful as what David's decision, to spare Saul in the cave of En Gedi. did really. Because in Gedi, remember I told you about Gedi, that's where David used to go and hide, in the cave of Adullam. And that was where a lot of people, and in Gedi today has a resort because it has a natural spring. So I like to believe, and I've been there once, and I like to believe that is probably David will just come out there in the heat of the sun and he will watch the deers and the antelope gazelle come, and that's probably how he penned those songs. As a deer pants for water, my soul longs for you. And David was just singing, and something about singing in a cave, the echo, just like singing in the shower. So David at this point was armed with opportunity. Okay, he had opportunity, and he was also supported by his men. People are saying, can you imagine somebody say, maybe this is what the Lord has been saying, that I'm going to hand your enemies to you. Oh yeah, strike. And of course, what did he do? He honored an unjust king. This is a king who's unjust, who deserves really to die. But David still chose restraint. He held back. David refused to take God's promise into his own hand. God has promised that he was going to kill Saul, that he's going to get, in fact, he's going to cut him off, whatever. But David is saying, am I the person? Did God tell me to go kill him? And David actually called him the Lord's anointed, because the unction, the oil of anointing had been used on him, just as it has also been used on David. So you could see this is a very, very challenging situation: to kill or not to kill, to act or to react, to be selfish or to be selfless, to be humble or to be arrogant. So this is not weakness. I grew up watching parents having their children come to say and to tell them how they were attacked by another young boy or whatever. They say, go and beat your own back. Go and strike. To his strength, in our community, in our culture, retaliation is always seen as strength. But it was strength. David's one was strength, either controls. I once heard many years ago, and it stuck with me. He said, true strength is not being able to fight. I think it was a movie or something. But the true strength is being able to hold back those punch when you know that you can actually take them. Now, this was humility in action. And today we're going to be looking at that very, very convicting passage. The Bible said that after Saul returned from pursuing the Philistine, he was told, David is in the desert of En Gedi. So Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all of Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the caves of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pen along the way. A cave was there, and Saul went in to relieve himself. David and his men were far back in the cave. When your father, if you watch cartoons or movie, so when you move back into the cave, your light just goes down and you become dark, because the light only comes here, it doesn't go all the way back. So you can imagine, this is like poetic justice. In the Igbos we say, Obiaribu Burowea. Somebody that have come to kill you actually stepped into not a trap, into where you are, not knowing, alone, and all your men were there. Then the men said, this is the day the Lord has spoken of, when he said, I will give your enemy into your hand, for you deal with him as you wish. Then David crept. David was like, okay, he crept unnoticed, and he cut off the corner of Saul's robe. Saul was sleeping. He was a king. He was chilling out. And the cave was supposed to be the most safest place. But not to him, that is actually where the person he wants to kill is. And what kind of meal would that be? This is like a meal, free meal coming to you. But afterwards, David was conscience stricken. Afterwards, he did it like, let me just cut it, let me do it. But he was conscience stricken for having cut off the corner of his robe. He said to his men, remember to his men, he said, the Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lift up my hands against him. For he is the anointed of the Lord. Can't you guys see? I mean, that was a big cave. They went on the back. Can't you guys see? That guy is still the king. With these words, David rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack, because they want to kill him. This is why they've been hiding. He said, no, don't do it. You see, contrast David's action with that of Eli that we read about, a week or some weeks ago, who didn't restrain his children, his sons. It's not enough to say, that is not good. Do you say, no, let's stop it. Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul. He went out. Actually, Saul was on his way out. My Lord, the king. When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, why do you listen to when men say David is bent on harming you? Why? Say, why do you want to kill me? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some people urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I will not lift my hand against my master because he is the Lord's anointed. Not because he's a righteous man, but he's the Lord's anointed. See, my father, look at the piece of robe in my hand. I cut off the corner of your robe, but you did not kill, and I didn't kill you. Now understand, I recognize that I am not guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. And that is the question. What exactly did David do? Nothing. What was Saul's problem? He was insecure. Saul was jealous. Saul was not spiritual. So was it David's fault that the hit song that was trending at that point was a song about David killing more than Saul? He said, may the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge wrong that you have done to me. But my hand will not touch you. Can you imagine a man making such a commitment? My hand will not touch you. And all the time that Saul lived and died, David's hand was never against him. As the old saying goes, from evildoers come evil deeds. So my hand will not touch you. Can you imagine how pure this guy was? Now, ask him. I mean, if you want to kill somebody, you better kill somebody that is worth killing. He said, against whom has the king of Israel, not just any king, the king of Israel come out? Who are you pursuing? A dead dog? A flea? I mean, look at me. You are the king. May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. May he consider my cause and uphold it. May he vindicate me by delivering you from my hand. When David finished saying all of this, who will hear this and not be convicted? Saul adds, is that your voice, David, my son? And he wept aloud. Just like our brother Ayo said yesterday, this guy he had like split personality, like he's bipolar. When you say pole, not pole and south pole. Somebody is too extreme. One moment he say, oh, I'm sorry. Next moment, whatever day. So some people are like that. And Saul said, you are more righteous than I. You see, righteousness, he said. He said, you have treated me well, but I have treated you badly. You have just now told me of the good that you did to me. The Lord delivered me into your hand, but you did not kill me. When a man finds his enemy, does he let him go unharmed? No. May the Lord reward you well for the way you have treated me today. I know, and now he prophesied really, I know that you surely be king. You see, that is his fear. That's his fear. That was why he didn't quite like the person that his son Jonathan has turned out. Jonathan, how can you be friends with my enemy? He said, I know that you will surely be king and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands. Now, swear to me by the Lord that you will not cut off my descendants or wipe out my name from my father's family. You see, that's his fear. Those are his fears. And that is what we're going to be looking at today. And how did David gave him his oath, this oath to Saul. Then Saul returned home. But David and his men went up to the stronghold. Let's talk about having this is just a Christ-like humility. I don't have this, honestly, I'll tell you. I'm always tempted the opposite. But this kind of humility shines. And I can share with you the few times I have been like this, and the reward is massive. Like I shared, even last week, I was able to show this kind of grace to two individuals. I like to show them too, but they were clearly wrong, and they something were done against me. I just said, "May the Lord be with you," and that's what I did. And I called them up immediately to let them know, "Hey, I'm forgiving you and everything." And you could have seen their action just showed exactly, just showed. And I got text messages of repentance and everything, and I just felt, wow, this is actually good. Now, initially, it doesn't feel good. It's like a burden, but after you do it, it actually feels good. I would say that David crept up unnoticed. Then he cut off the corner of Saul's robe. He didn't kill him, but he did some damage to his robe. At least I'm going to hold this. So David was a warrior at this time, had become a warrior. What's his resume? He had not just the lion or the bear, he has killed Goliath. He became Israel's army. He became the chief of the bodyguard of Saul, and he was the anointed future king of Israel. Yet he was in a dark cave with Saul completely vulnerable, and he refused to kill him. Why? We have asked that question. I think it's because David feared God more than the desire to revenge. So you see, and that is the calling today. Focus more on God than on myself. Focus more on God than on things that people have done to me. Focus more on God than the pain I feel. Focus more on God than what that is the call for me. You see, historically, ancient warfare. I talked about the man-to-man battle, the combat, the one they had. David was supposed to have with Goliath. Kings were often overthrown by force. I mean, you could read it throughout the Bible. Even David, his son Absalom, overthrew him. Much later, we're going to be reading that much later. But it was not unusual for rulers to die at the hands of their successor. It's unusual. If you look at throughout the book of Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings, the successor won't just come. It's coup d'etat. David's mercy here in the Bible, it stands in stark, if I say, they call it stark contrast to the cultural norm. The cultural norm is you kill your enemy. And look at every coup in Nigeria. When a coup, happens and it fails, by their law, you're supposed to kill those people who plot the coup, because that's some of the things. Those who plan the coup, they have to be killed. And I guess that is maybe one of the mistakes or the error of the very first, Nigerian coup. What was wrongly dubbed as the Igbo coup, that we now found out that it's not really an Igbo coup. It was everybody's coup, really. And the anger was those boys were not killed. Those young soldiers were not killed. But anyway, that's just Nigerian history. It is 2019 or so, they stopped teaching history, or 19, I don't know, 1999 or something, they stopped teaching history. But God, God knows exactly what happened. So David's humility shines like a light in this dark episode of revenge culture, of honor killing. This act reminds us that practically godly leadership, begins in reverence, restraint. If you want to be a God leader, you must know when to restrain, not reckless ambition. Reckless ambition because of you want to take power, because you want to know. It comes from restraining. So let's talk about what true humility is, because I believe that even in our church, many times, I think we may be confused about what humility is and what humility is not. Let me tell you, in the society, have you observed that even wicked people like people who are humble? At least by definition. And liking people who are humble, I ask myself, so why can't you also be humble? Because people who generally just like people who are humble, you better ask them and find out if they are bullies by themselves. So what is true humility? True humility is what I'll call is a mindset of recognizing your own strength and your own weaknesses without arrogance. Is that mindset of, okay, I know my strength, I know my weakness, without arrogance. Okay, so why humility's opposite, we know, is arrogance. It involves a sense of kind of superiority and self-importance. Now, I'm going to break this thing down so that we're able to have it. So we're not confused. I pray that after today, we won't be too confused about what humility is, because the Bible also calls something. I mean, I was talking to a brother some years ago, and this brother, in my mind, was wrong. Like, everybody's right in their own eyes. And he was trying to, convict me of not being humble. He was saying, Emmanuel, you need to be humble. And we're in a meeting. And I took it in a very sarcastic way. I didn't take it in a humble way. I was like, yes, I know I need to be humble. Humility is good. And all of them were looking at me. And I said, I also know the Bible also talked about false humility. Could that be what you are doing? And you could hear a pin drop. So after that day, I began to investigate this thing about humility. So what is humility? And I'm going to read out some thoughts. Humility is accurate self-assessment. Humility is accurate self-assessment. A humble person recognizes their strength and their weaknesses without, exaggeration or denial. When you say, "Oh, bro, you're trying," I'm not here. It's just God. Sometimes it's just false humility. That's not humility. Sometimes you can tell somebody is falsely humble, false humility. So it is be able to recognize your strength. False humility could be like, yeah, praise God, man. God has really blessed me, and I'm happy to help. That is humble. But people say, now you are being prideful. No. So what exactly do we want when we say people should be humble? Humility is modesty and lack of arrogance. So, in other words, humility involves being modest. Modest is like being balanced. Really. When I think of the word, modest, you can think of shy. You kind of hold back. You kind of maybe unsure. Maybe people think uncertain. But modest is actually just having kind of a balance in your behavior. You are not boasting about what you've accomplished or your ability. At the time, you're also denying it. You're also denying it. You're not also denying it. So humility is respect and kindness. A humble, person, they are often respectful and they are kind to other people. Why? Why do that? Because they recognize that everyone has value. People who are humble are respectful, and they also are kind, and they recognize that other people have value. A humble person is open to learning. Why? Because humility involves being willing to learn from others. Okay? A humble person, I want to learn, even when you know. When those who may be, let's say, perceived as having less experience or knowledge, come to you, you want to learn because everybody has something. Their knowledge might be lesser than yours, but there's something you can learn from them. Humility is focusing on others and on God, not on yourself. So a humble person, often they will direct their attention to others and to God rather than constantly focusing on themselves. If you're constantly focusing on yourself, afterwards you're going to become insecure. Actually, you're like, how did I do well? Oh, how do I look? How do I focus on yourself? Just focus on people to serve. I coach people in the Toastmasters Club, and someone was like, how can I get confident? I said, you know what? Why you just get it to speak? Focus on people that you are serving. Not on yourself. If you focus on how they looking at me, whatever, you are going to constantly make mistakes. Focus on I'm here, I have a message, I have to deliver it to these people. So true humility is confidence in your ability. True humility, you're confident. Can you do this? I think I can. I will. Not, I don't know. That's false humility. You'll be into, and sometimes I think we'll be wired to be falsely humble. And people who are falsely humble are very manipulative. So true humility is confidence in your ability. So it does not mean you lack confidence. Instead, what it means it means being confident in your ability. Why acknowledging that they are gifts and talents? God has given me things to do and to serve. I volunteered to train the new executives of the Toastmasters Club in the division I belong. A lot of people, this month is the handover notes. Everybody change of guard. So the new executive come, and I said I wanted to train just people in my club, and they were like, "Wow, this is good." So one of the oldest Toastmasters said, This will be good for everybody, really. I just sent a message to one person, the director, district director. I said, oh, I have this. Is it okay? He said, Mr. Emmanuel, come over. And so yesterday on Saturday at Total Oil Company, one of their floors, we used it. And I just wanted to deliver something I've done. After delivering the class to the South and the Southeast disciples, I did it right there on Zoom. This one was live. Yesterday, I met this district director. He came to our club meeting yesterday. And I was thanking for the opportunity. He said, Mr. Emmanuel, watching you speak, it didn't look like a Toastmasters event. So my heart sank. He said, your class, it didn't look like a Toastmasters event. My heart actually sank. He said, it was different. It was better. I said, so does that mean it was good? He said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not what we are used to. It's not what we are used to. I said, well, thank you. Thank you. While we're there, one of the feedback that I got from one, and that's the first time a lot of them will see me speak like a conference style training. One of them said, Mr. Emmanuel, I felt I was listening to a Harvard lecture from Harvard. This is better than ever did. Honestly, I was so humble. I'm like, these are guys who work in oil companies. These are guys who are lawyers, whatever. I was so humble, like, this is something I teach people in my church. I just practically just put it out. I was so humble. And I said, wow, I'm going to keep working at it. I'm going to keep working at it to be able to serve, to make people. Now, let me turn to what humility is not. Humility is not self-depreciation. Humility is not about putting yourself down or feeling unworthy. We're like, oh, I'm not worthy or whatever. That's the way you will know this guy is just being prideful. But it's called false humility. So we say all those things, then we now begin to act proud. You know how you say, oh, I'm not, let me give you something. There are some lines that you might use. You want something to say, oh, I could be wrong. People think if you just put that one there, that covers anything you're going to say. So if you say I could be wrong, why don't you step back and let people tell you that you're wrong? You see how how it works. So it is what I have to catch myself, and I hope maybe you have to catch yourself also. So humility is not having low esteem. In fact, a lot of people that people think are humble, actually people who are insecure, they have low esteem. Humility is not the same as having this kind of low esteem, but it's about having, listen carefully, it's about having what I would call a balanced view of yourself. You know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. You know that, hey, I can try, but let me tell you, Mr. A is actually better. So people ask me to introduce myself. To write something, and I just wrote a few things and I sent it down. And they asked me, so what's my latest club executive role that I've held? And I told them, no, but I'm aspiring. And the person actually read, you mean you've never held any club? I said, I've never held. Many times I have been pushed. In fact, there was a time they pushed me to contest in a role, put me up in a role to contest in a role. And in my manifesto, I campaigned against myself. I told them why I will not make a very good leader in this area. Then in the election, and I voted for my opponent, and he won. And he asked me, and I told them, because of what I do, my job, and my traveling, I will not be available to do this thing. So why give me a role when I know I won't give it my best. And like I told them yesterday, after yesterday, I won't see them again until late August because I'll be traveling this week for a conference and everything. But I know that I won't be the best. So it's not about Emilio Coin. It's not about let me just have a badge. Let me just have whatever. I will not be the best. I might have the talent, but I'm not available. So there's ability and availability. A lot of people today are available, but they don't have the skills. A lot of people today have the skill, but they're not available. So a lot of time we give position to the wrong people and we not complain. Why is our government, this way? So humility is not denying your abilities. Humility does not mean denying your strengths or talents. but rather recognizing that they are gifts from God and blessing. And so why they let me go is that, somebody said, Mr. Emmanuel, whenever he's around, he serves. Even yesterday, I was serving and whatever. I'm probably, I'm the oldest male in my small club. But they will see me and say, Emmanuel, you're such a servant. Because that's what I do. I want to put up the PowerPoint, arrange chair. They'll say, let me help you carry. I say, no, I can carry. Go carry your own, and everything. So whenever I'm around, I make sure I serve because I may not be there all the time. So humility is not lacking confidence. A lot of people today practically lack confidence, but you think they're humble because they don't talk. Humility does not require, it does not require a lack of confidence. It is possible to be both humble and also be confident in your ability. It's very possible to be confident. I think I can do that. I know was the time I told I was in a meeting and I said I can actually help that. I can help do that thing. I said I was actually trained, to do that. And the person I talked to became insecure. I said it's part of my training. I'm trained. I'm trained to do this. I can help you, do this. Humility is not arrogance. Arrogance which involve a sense of superiority and self-importance is opposite of humility. And many times I've seen myself fall flat in that area. So what truly is humility? Today I want us to, even as we reflect, to ask ourselves, what situation in your life right now requires you to choose restraint over revenge? Number two, where can Christ-like humility shine through in your life today? Today is the first day of the working week. Yesterday is the first day of the week. Even as we go out today, as you go and seek, like we say, what we're going to eat, may we not find what's going to eat us up. May arrogant not eat us up. As you drive, and as you relate with your family, your children, your wife, I want you to affirm with me that Christ-like humility is my strength. I will not take shortcuts to God's promise. If God has promised you something, don't take shortcuts. Don't go and kill the Saul in your life to become a David, to become a king. Don't try to do God's work for him. Quickly, I'm going to also say that, the story we just read is grace under pressure. And grace under pressure is what wins hearts. The Bible says that when David finished saying all these things, Saul asked him, is that you, David, my son? And listen, these days, those are the kind of statements I hear. I'm not kidding you. And it is very humbling to hear those kind of statements. What I say, I mean, not exactly this, but to hear people come to us and say, Emmanuel, is that you? Oh, Emmanuel, can we? Whatever. It's very humbling. It's very humbling, for God to put me in that humble situation. So I want us to reflect, when pressured or when you are hurt, do you speak with honor or with bitterness? So who has been what I'll call, or what I say, I'm trying to phrase it well. How have people seen your humility? And how has it softened people's hearts? So I want you to affirm with me also that I choose grace under pressure. When I'm under pressure, I see, there's a session that I attend every Friday, like I share with you. And God seems to prepare me ahead of the things I'm going to go through. And somebody just said, you know what, Emmanuel, if this is going to be help, I'm going to pay for you. Very, very expensive, thing. And every week we are asked to affirm things, resilience, all this pressure, all things we go through. They're actually our teacher. We embrace it, we work with it. It defines us. Many years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say things like that. When I go through trouble right now, even when I'm in traffic, I'm like, this traffic is for me. There's a reason. Maybe God needs to meditate. Maybe God wants to observe things. And finally, humility honors God's timing. Saul said, may the Lord judge between you and me. But my hand, David, but my hand will not touch you. Let God be the judge. David's decision echoes it in a timeless way. When we step ahead of God, we often delay our best, the best he has for us. Don't run ahead of God. So are you trying to force something in your life that God is asking you to wait for? Are you trying to push for it? What will it look like to trust God's timing? You know, um, was it last week in a prayer? You guys must have heard I prayed and I asked God, I said, God, I've been invited to come and speak in Abidjan, teachers conference and every single thing. And God, I pray, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I pray that you'll be able to open up doors for me and every single thing. And God had that prayer. Not only did God open up door for me, God also opened up door for my wife. That I'll be going go with my wife. Do you know how much it costs to fly, even regionally? To fly in and out for two people. And God said, because my wife also has we don't even know. We don't find out. You actually have a class too. They put my wife's name there. How are we going to do it? And God, in one day, in 8 hours, God provided a way out. So I affirm that I trust in God's timing. I'm not going to rush ahead. I'm going to walk humbly and I'm going to let God lead. Every single day, you are going to have that urge. Yesterday, I had it. 2 days ago, I had it. Today, I'm definitely going to have it. Whatever. Let all of us, we're going to be tempted. But let us hold on to God. Let us keep affirming. I trust God's timing. I won't rush ahead. I'm going to walk humbly and I'm going to let God lead me. Before we open up the room for personal sharing and for reflections and for feedback, our call to action today is to apologize. Is there somebody you've had? Apologize when necessary with humility. Is there anybody you need to apologize? Is there anybody that you need to go down? Hey, bro, I know I said this to you. I'm really sorry. Hey, my sister, please forgive me. If there is a relationship strain, that there are relations that have been strained by pride, I want you to take first step. It might be with your children, it might be with your spouse, it might be with your neighbor. You don't have to be wrong to apologize. Sometimes you can be right. You can say apologize. You just have to be surrendered. We're going to be opening up the room at this time. And if there are people, if you want to just put up your hand, if you want to share, if you would like to, um, you know, help us out in one area. If there's something that you need, even if it's a prayer request that you want to share, if you want to share a win, areas that God has helped you, if you want to share the things you